coming up on today's episode.
And imagine your pains came a week or two later, a month later. This is what happens in the workplace when we want to finally address the issue that is pissing us off because it's happened 5, 6, 7 times in the last month, and we want to be the good guy or good girl and not address it yet. And we want to be the cool boss or the cool staff and not bring it up. The issues that we have is because we don't want to have a serious conversation that sets the tone from the very beginning. And if we just do so out the gate, I think we solve a lot, not all, a lot of our problems.
If you want to raise the bar on your growth, whether it's personal or professional, this is the podcast for you. And now, the host, Juan Alvarado.
Hey, welcome to the Relevant Development Podcast. I am your host, Juan Alvarado. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's just jump right into it. But first, I have 2 announcements that I'd love for you to stay tuned for at the end so you can hear those 2 great announcements. But let's just get into it. Today's show is about how do we start off on the right foot? How do we start the new year the right way? And you're like, Juan, it's not even New Year's. We're in July or we're in August or whenever you're hearing this. How do we start off on the right foot? We don't have to wait till Monday and we don't have to wait till January 1st. Real quick caveat, but still on the same subject. If we wait for a Monday or January 1st, we will continue to dig ourselves in a hole. So let's just say I want to run a mile every single day, but I'm going to wait till Monday or I'm going to wait till January 1st and it's July or it's Wednesday. You're going to have all of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're going to say, let me eat what I want or let me sit on the couch or let me do whatever until then. And all you're doing is you're digging yourself a bigger hole. I'll put it this way. You are hugging bad consistency. I kind of don't like the word consistency because it gives discipline a bad name. There's good consistency and then there's bad consistency. And all you're doing is you're holding on to and rooting into bad consistency if you hold off and wait till Monday or January 1st. And we all know that you're going to create and make excuses. However, that's not exactly where I want to go in this episode. Where I want to go in this episode is something that I think every relationship suffers with. And I'm talking brother, sister, sibling relationship, siblings to parents, parents to siblings, and all these relationships are going back and forth, right? Both. It's not one or the other, it's both. Kids' relationship with parents, and then the staff-employee relationship. And as you know, if you're a regular listener of the podcast, we go back and forth between work relationships and home relationships because I think there's a lot that we can learn from both. This episode specifically, and this topic specifically, is something that I want to kind of dial in on. And again, it shares those same standards as a work relationship and as a relationship that you might have at home with your spouse or family or whatever. I think too many times we move forward with 2 things. They should know better, or do I really need to say anything? And the answer is yes. One, they might know better, you know better, but do you have to say something? Yes, you do. We do in the workplace an okay job. I won't even say a great job, if I'm being honest. An okay job in the hiring HR process. You go through all your training. You go through all of your sign this paperwork, pick a plan for medical and dental insurance and all this other stuff. You meet the people that you're going to work with, and you know your job description a little bit because you just signed it. All you got excited about when you got hired was, I get paid this much, which is more than my last job, or I have better benefits, or it's closer to home, whatever it is, and you just sign the contract and you don't know much of your position. You know about it, you know of it, but you don't necessarily know it. But don't worry, because there's going to be somebody there to train you. And within a couple days, they're going to say, do you understand? Do you get it? Can you be on your own? And you're like, yes, because what are you going to say? No. And then you're afraid that they're going to fire you or whatever. But we go over expectations, but when we go over expectations, it's almost as if they already should know the job. Aging myself here, my 41-year-old mind versus a 15-year-old mind, or my mind of being a leader for 20-some years versus somebody else who has been in leadership for 1 or 2 years or 3 years. And what we do is we compare our minds and we say, well, they should know better. Well, you know better because that's your thought process right now. However, Does this other person know better? They probably don't. And that's why you're their leader. So you can go and train them. So you can be a leader for them. So you can teach them. And we're going to have ups and downs. And your job is to help them in those downs and applaud them on those ups. And I don't think that we do that. So 2 things that we do in the workplace is that we don't give that applause and that praise on the ups. And then on the downs, we tend to maybe mumble under our breath a little bit. We vent to somebody else. And then when we do the evaluation 6 months down the line, then we tell that person about it. Or we, in a smart ass kind of way, why did you do this? How come you weren't thinking about this? And how come you did this? Instead of teaching them, hey, this is not right, and this is how we fix it. So the main thing that I want to go over today is how do we stop or prevent that stuff from happening in the first place? And I think the big issue is that we don't set expectations and we don't tell people our standards and have a serious conversation with our people from the moment that we hire them, and or to our veterans or the people that are, have been there a little less time. So they're not a rookie, they're not a veteran, they're somewhere in between. Either way, we don't give expectations and have that serious conversation ever until it's too late. Yes, we shouldn't have to tell people you can't take an hour and a half lunch when you only have an hour lunch. Yes, we shouldn't have to tell people, hey, you're talking and doing the cooler talk more than you're working. Yes, we shouldn't have to do that. However, if we set the standard in front in the very beginning, we have that clear communication. Let me give you an example. Working as a director in a nonprofit for a while, you had veteran staff. And we always had the same issues over and over and over again. I started to literally pull my hair out. Those of you guys that can't see me or don't know who I am, I'm bald. I'd go crazy like, bro, you've been here for this long and you don't know that we do this every single year. Our training is on these days every single year. You know that you have to clock in and clock out every single day, and you've been doing so for the last, 4 or 5 years, and you forgot 8 days in a row? Or was it that you were late? You didn't want us to see that you were late, so you forgot, quote unquote, forgot to clock in. And so then our thought process is like, oh, well, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll talk to them later. And later either never happens or it's too late and it doesn't. Imagine if you were to get into a car accident or smash your finger hammering something in and you didn't feel it until a week later. So imagine you getting into a car accident one day, you smash your finger another day, a paper cut another day, and then a week later, all of a sudden you're like, what the heck was that? Was that from the car accident, or was that from my hand hurting from hitting it with the hammer, or was that the paper cut? And imagine your pains came a week or two later, a month later. This is what happens in the workplace when we want to finally address the issue that is pissing us off because it's happened 5, 6, 7 times in the last month, and we want to be the good guy or good girl and not address it yet. And we want to be the cool boss or the cool staff and not bring it up. The issues that we have is because we don't want to have a serious conversation that sets the tone from the very beginning. And if we just do so out the gate, I think we solve a lot, not all, a lot of our problems. So when we hire somebody, I might say, listen, we are short staffed. We probably can hire 5 more people and there's still going to be there enough hours in the day and there's not enough days in the week and there's not enough weeks in the month for us to get our work done. Work is going to be fast paced. People historically have called in sick last minute. We are telling all of our staff that you better give us an advance notice of you being sick. Like, if I feel something coming on, I'm going to know now. If I was throwing up at 9 o'clock at night, that email should have come at 9:10 at night for the following day to say, hey, I'm not feeling well. Like, this stuff should have happened instead of a minute before work, hey, I'm not coming in because I don't feel good. You probably felt good or felt bad. You probably felt bad hours before. So give me the courtesy. If I'm going to give you the courtesy, you need to give us the courtesy. Needless to say, historically, we've had staff call in last minute. And they might want to go to a concert or go on to get an extra day of vacation, or they're actually sick. We want you to let us know as soon as possible. But here's the downside of that. When you call in sick and you're not really sick and you're just tired or hungover or whatever it is, If we need 5 more staff and we're already understaffed, when you leave, just understand the pressure that it puts on us. Understand that when you have 100 files to go through, we all now have 125 files to go through because you're not here. We have to distribute your work amongst everybody else, and now our already big workload is going to be even bigger. Our lunches. People tend to leave 5 minutes early to lunch. Lunch is from 12:30 to 1:30 for you. And you leave at 12:25 and you come back at 1:35 and you just gave yourself 10 extra minutes. That cannot happen because 10 minutes extra every single day is almost an hour of work missed every single day. And that hour comes in, and what happens is we have staff saying there's not enough time, and I don't have enough, I can't do my job, there's still too much on my plate and I can't do my job. And it's like, well, if you went to lunch and came back from your lunch and didn't take 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after, you'd have almost an hour at the end of the week. And then when you come in, you talk to every single person around their desk, and you talk for 20, 30 minutes, and that's every single day. You probably would have 3 extra hours. And so what I want to tell you or our team is, I hear the aches and the pains and the complaints and the worries of so much work. And yes, we're trying to hire more people. But this is what I need us to do. When the new person comes on, you can't teach them the way you do your job and you do your work, because you're going to say, don't worry about it. And managers, I'm talking to you, when you don't verbally or verbally warn somebody or write a written warning to somebody, those issues are going to continue to happen. Again, there's that saying that I've said before of don't get mad at the results you didn't get for the work that you didn't put in. You can't get upset of the issues that are continuously happening because you are too quiet to voice up or to use your managerial experience and voice and position to say something. Now, I'm not saying to abuse your power and start to be a micromanager. No. But what I am telling you to do is, as a boss, we need to have these serious conversations with our staff and actually point the finger not at the person, but at the problem that is slowing down our progress. We have to show that your inefficient ways are causing us not to be efficient. And in order to be effective, I need you to be efficient. And you're not efficient because you take a lot of time off of your work week. And it's all these little things. The serious conversation that I tell teachers or after school programs or anyone who works with students and children. At the end of the day, families that need you, children that need you, students that need you are the reason why you're here at work. And this goes all the way for people who work in budget or finance or whatever it is and says, that's not my job. Or you got to take that to HR. You got to do this or you got to do that. I'm not going to do that. I need you to start thinking, staff, about the school or the class that doesn't get the field trip or the funding because you said it wasn't your job to do something and I'm not going to do it. And budget departments and finance departments and HR departments aren't talking to each other because that's not my job. And this goes to the employee who was a week late in filling out the purchase request or the order or putting in the request because you were too tired. Again, we know our what's, but we forget about the why we work in the first place. And I really hope that I'm speaking to somebody right now, and I really hope that I'm ticking you off a little bit because I'm getting you to think about, shoot, do I do that? Or some of you guys are pointing the finger at somebody else in your employment and saying, oh, they do this or they do that. All because we don't want to have the conversation in the beginning of the day. We have a lot of work on our plate today. We have 2 people out, and I know it sucks for all of us. If you need me, I will help stay in, but I will help with some of the work, but we need everyone to do their job plus a little bit more. I also need you guys to understand that I don't need you guys to have payback. You know what? In 2 weeks, I'm going to leave early because if I have to do the work, I'm going to make them do the work. This is the feeling, the hurt, the stress, the pain that we all feel when you guys call out just because. Legit, if you are sick or you need time off, please take it. But when all of a sudden these Monday, Friday stuff comes up in the summer or around spring break or during Christmas time and we still have a job to do, we all suffer. And we don't have to suffer so much if we do our job and we do it at a high level. So this is what I want us to do today. I want us to communicate more than we ever have before. I want us to push a little bit quicker, a little bit faster than before. If you need help, you come call me, and I will help and take some of that load off of you. I will sit by your desk. I will help you input numbers. I will help you do whatever it is. I will go to your site. I will go to your location. I will help you out. Managers, you have to be willing to put in that extra work, because that extra work got you to that spot. Doesn't mean that you downshift and you start doing less work. A lot of us that were in management or directors or wherever else, is our boss saw the work ethic in us. We need to continue that work ethic. Again, it goes back to the conversation from the very, very beginning. So right now, I would be hiring somebody who would do my social media post. I would have to tell them, I want my post at this time. I want one long form edited every single week, and I need 2 to 3 or possibly more short form to be posted on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads now, and YouTube. And that has to be done at this time of an hour, not at the top of the hour, but 15 till. And there's reasons behind it. So let me tell you why it's so important, because here's the thing. I can tell somebody that needs to be done before the hour, but that's not very specific. But if I was to say, if you're posting in the morning, I need you to do it at 8:45, not any time after that. It's 8:45, and the next post is going to be at 12:45. Statistics show that people get on their phones prior to the hour, and at the top of the hour, they get off. So I need the post here at the 45-minute mark, because if you do it later, we're going to miss out on views, or we're going to miss out on this and the interactions and things like that. But I had to be specific, and then I might say, and those posts, if they go viral for whatever reason, and we get paid from that, you get a commission off of that as well. This is why your job is so important. So I can make content, you can edit it, you can post it, because yes, that takes a lot of my time that doesn't need to be. And if I did it, then you wouldn't have a job. And this is why I've hired you. Let's do it. Before is better, 8:45 or whatever, but that's the latest mark. So bottom of the hour to the quarter of the hour, let's get it done. If we can make it go viral and you can do all these cool transitions and words and blah, 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 we will make it, and it goes viral, you'll get money from that, because that's your work being done. But if I have to come and help you, I can't make these videos. So do you know how to edit videos? Because tell you what, in a couple weeks, I'm going to find out, bro, you don't know how to edit videos, and you don't know how to do X, Y, and Z. And maybe I hired the wrong person. And this is where, still using the same example, a lot of managers have issues letting somebody go. If they're not cutting it, we let them go. There's a probation period, and so we let them go because they can't do the job right. But we let them know, if you can't do the job right, we'll have to talk about what is a better position here, or a different department, or somewhere else besides our company for you to work in. And we have that conversation ahead of time. I need you to go full force, take days off when you absolutely have to, communicate with me wholeheartedly and truthfully. You help me, I help you. Like, that's just how this organization works. But I need us to communicate. This is the standard. If you fall below the standard, we're going to have a talk to bring you back up. And every single time you fall below the standard, we're going to have a conversation. Too many conversations too close together, we might have to let you go. It's not a threat. It's just reality. It's the same thing with, anybody who is disrespectful to you. You might be able to do that once, I'll forgive you, but you do it again and again and again, we might have to cut our friendship. If we can do that with friends, we should be able to do that with workers. And above C-suite people, management, if your managers or leadership ain't cutting it, so what? They've been with you for 10, 12 years. You might have to cut them out. Board of directors, if the CEO or whomever is not cutting it, you might have to get rid of them. Like, no one is necessarily quote unquote safe below the standard, but this is where safety is. Stay above the standard. Here's the line, stay above it. I need us to communicate. We have to have serious conversations ahead of time. And I think it's going to save work. It's going to help employees. You might say, like, Juan, that's a little harsh. There's ways to go about it. I look at my boys, I have 3 boys, and I tell them, hey, if you're a C student or a B student, my expectation is not A's all the time. Are you capable and able of getting an A? Absolutely. But there might be a subject that you just don't get. It's hard. Math and English seems to be like one of those for kids everywhere. But if you're not getting math, I need you to say, I'm not understanding, I'm not getting it. That's the clear communication. You see your 98% dip down to like a 90, now 89, warning things better start going off and saying, hey, I need help. I'm not getting this, I'm not understanding. It comes from raising your hand, asking to stay after, asking to stay later, talking to your parents, getting a tutor, going on YouTube, whatever it is. But there's so many options, but we have to communicate with one another. And the standard is, be the best student that you can be. However, if those numbers are going lower than all your other numbers before, something's the matter. Now, I'm not going to push my kids to get straight A's. That's a lot of stress. And if they're a B student, I'm okay with them being a B student. And if they're consistently a C and they're trying hard, and I see them studying and they're working and working, I'm quizzing them and quizzing them and quizzing them, and they're just a C, then that's their standard. In the workplace, you might not be able to settle for a C. And I get that. But did you have that conversation with that person? We want 90% success rates. And if you get below 90%, we're going to have that talk. We need to set the standard, clear expectation. I've talked about this before. There's 3 forms of expectations. The expectations that I have of you, the expectations that I have of myself, and the expectations that you have of me. And it goes the other way around. If you're my staff, you have the expectation of yourself as a staff, the expectations that you have of the boss, and the expectations the boss has of you. If we communicate this clearly from the very beginning, these conversations should be able to be simple and happen quickly. We cannot wait for a mid-year review, end-of-year review to talk about all the shitty things that you did and say, hey, I need you to fix them. Because again, that pain 3-4 weeks later does not help solve the problem or the issue right there and then. If you smash your finger hammering a nail, you have to make the adjustment there. Hey, you're holding it wrong. Or let's get something that helps you hold the nail from a distance. But as long as the pain comes 2, 3, 6 months later, that person's not going to learn. And if you as a leader is not willing to sit with this person, I talked in another episode about SCOPE, SCOPE, and my way of helping somebody learn something. If you're not willing to sit with that person and train them, and also train the behavior, then we're not going to fix anything. When we do this with my kids, and when we started talking with students, is I can't tell somebody, hey, you know better, fix it. But if I say, hey, that's not the way to talk to your brother, or that's no way to talk to your mom, fix it. I'm not teaching them the behavior. Hey, so-and-so, you can't come into work that late. You can't be 15 minutes late without a phone call. You have to make a phone call. But if we leave it at that, that person may not learn. And sometimes there's a little hand holding. Hey, son, when you say, what, mom? You can't have that attitude behind your voice. So let's try this again. Hey, mom, I didn't hear you. What was that? Mom, my bad. I didn't hear you. Can we start over? Easy. So try it. I could say, do you understand? He can say yes, but I don't know that he fully understood because he's not showing me that behavior. So I might ask him, go ahead, do it. Well, I would say, no, talk to mom. Tell her. And so I make sure he understands the behavior. So when it comes to an employee and I say, hey, you can't be late, this is what I want you to do. Get your phone out and get a favorite or speed dial on your phone, whatever it is. And here's my cell number. And when you're late, I need you to do it. So go ahead and do it. Let me see if it works. Let's practice. Hey, I'm going to be 10 minutes late from lunch. What happened? I'm stuck behind a big rigger. There's an accident. Cool. Get back safe. And that's it. If we have clear communication, but I have to teach them the behavior, you might say, I'm not trying to have my employees, I'm not going to treat them like kids because that's disrespectful. Well, guess what? They're being disrespectful when they keep on coming in 20, 30 minutes late from lunch or to work and constantly calling out and not having sick time and lying to you and you getting and you letting them get away with it is not very professional, and that's not very respectful either. So where do you draw the line? This is where we draw the line. We're too late to draw the line. However, what we can do is draw the line from the very beginning, or we draw the line today. So we don't have to wait till a January 1st. We don't have to wait till a September 1st. We don't have to wait till a first of anything. We don't have to wait till a Monday. We can have that meeting today. As soon as you're done listening to this, we can say, hey, there's been a couple issues in our department and a lot of pains that I could hear you guys talking about. A lot of work. People not showing up. not communicating with other departments. So I need everyone to come up with a solution of how do we fix these things. I have my ideas. I want everybody to have 1 to 3 of their own ideas, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. But between now and tomorrow, when we come into this room, you're going to give me 1 to 3 solutions. And not only are they going to be broad solutions, I want to know what you are going to do and how you're taking responsibility for your own actions to move forward towards that way. And I'm going to do the same thing because I know that I need to lead by example. We have to have a conversation from the very beginning, putting it out on the line to begin with. From the first day we hire somebody to our veterans to everyone in between, this is our standard. We make deadlines. When we know that we have a deadline every first of the month or last of the month or every second week of the month, my expectation is that everybody is here at work. Your house better be burning, and you better have blisters all over your face from a disease, and you have no car in order for you not to come to work. Now, I understand we have deaths in the family. I understand that we have kids and significant others that are sick, and we are their caregivers. I get that. But if we can be here 98% of the time, I guarantee that 98% of our issues and frustrations with these 2 or 3 work-related problems will go away because we're taking responsibility for us. Our next standard is that I need everybody to take care responsibility of yourself and not worry about someone else. And if your worry is that much about somebody else, my expectations is that you speak with that person and you bring them to me or me to you, and we talk about it together. Same thing, if you have an issue with me, come to me, talk with me. We have to communicate this from the get-go. If I say something, we do something, come to me immediately. Don't let it dwindle, because sitting stale water brings bugs and insects and diseases. But flowing water is always fresh. It's always moving, and there's no issue with the water, and there's not going to be any issues with us if we keep flowing and we address things as soon as they happen. But as soon as they become stale and stagnant, it's going to start to stink. This is why we need to have conversations immediately. Set the standard immediately. Set expectations immediately. And you don't have to wait. You don't. If it's important to you, today is the day that we make the change. In our department, in our business, with our employees, with our leadership. If you want something to change, you need to make that action now. So how do we do that? I'm pretty sure you know a list of complaints that you've heard. I know that you have complaints of your own. Write those out. I have a saying that says, if you write it out, you'll figure it out. So make a survey, and maybe it's anonymous. And when you make an anonymous survey, it needs to be anonymous if you say that it's anonymous. I've heard horror stories about that in the workplace. But ask, what are some things that you can do to improve, or that you know that you need to do to improve in the workplace? What is something that you see that others need to improve in? And don't mention any names, but what are coworkers that need to do to make our work better? And what does our department need to do a little bit better? Not only do you want people to give you a list of the problems, but then you want to ask them, what is your version of the solution? Because here's the deal. We can have this high altitude vision of everything, and we can see the big picture, but sometimes people on the ground floor in the trenches will see a better, simpler solution. I think this is also the disconnect between managers and employers, that you see and understand a reason or a problem from this height and altitude, but then your staff see it completely different from down here. And not to say that one person is wrong and the other person is right. You guys are both right. However, you can communicate what you see from down here and what you see from up here. We used to do this in the military. We used to have audio and radio from fighter jets, and they used to tell us what they see, and then we would tell them what we see and what we hear. And the communication kept us alive. Our information helped one another out. And our goal was to not only finish the mission, but to come home safe to our families. There's always a bigger picture. There's always a bigger picture. At the end of the day, you could leave your job, and guess what? They're going to fly your job, and there's going to be 5 or 10 people that apply for your job. They're going to get the best, couple people. They're going to interview them, and it's going to be like you never left. Sucks, but that's the reality of everything. And that goes for you too, managers. And the reason why we let some of these people go is because it's a lack of communication. And what I'm saying is the lack of communication, the reason people leave is due to poor communication and or their manager. 51% of people who leave the workplace leave because of the manager. And that is the straw that broke the camel's back. The lead up to quitting, the lead up to stress, the lead up to burnout is lack of communication. Somebody just bites their lip and they drive. They bite their lip and they work, and they don't say anything. The manager doesn't say anything, and so now we have issues. So Juan, how do we fix this? Think about how you hire your new hires. Think about how you train your new hires. Think about, do we actually tell them and have that serious conversation in the beginning of the standard? This is our expectation. When to show up, how to show up, what to do, when to do. Is it in writing and they're supposed to read this 300-page manual? Or can you discuss this? Because guess what? Your new hire is going to learn good and bad habits from your employees. Employees, don't teach them the bad ways or your ways, because your ways are probably not the best ways. New hires, with a grain of salt, listen and filter out all that stuff. Everybody in the job that they do should be great. You have a choice. You have a choice every single day to be good or to be great, to win or to lose, success or failure. You have a choice. Why would you want to be good when you can be great? Why would you want to lose when you know winning is an option? God, we could be great at every single thing that we do. You could be the most phenomenal mom. You could be the most phenomenal dad. You could be the most phenomenal boss or worker. You could do all those things, but we have a choice, and sometimes we let our feelings get in the way. You have to know who and what you're doing and why you're doing it every single day. For those custodians, you are making a clean, presentable place for workers and clients to come in through the door. For teachers, you are teaching and being that person that the student needs in their lives that is frustrated or doesn't have somebody that smiles to them every morning and says, "Good morning, you look good today, I like your hair, I like your shoes," because they don't hear that anywhere else. Coaches, you are the person that is helping the student, boy or girl, play catch or get better in basketball or ice hockey, whatever it is, because mom and dad are too busy at work. The gas attendant, you are there to to put gas into the car for that person that is stressed out and doesn't want to get out and feels unsafe getting out of the car, whatever it is. You bring speed and efficiency and safety to the person sitting in the car. The finance personnel, you are the person that makes your managers and the people around you feel better and sleep better at night because the numbers are where they're supposed to be, and you caught this wrong thing on the spreadsheet, and you did this stuff for your organization so they can continue to thrive and move forward. I mean, we can go on and on and on, but do you understand the what, the how of your job and why you do it? There's always somebody at the end that benefits wholeheartedly for the better because of your work. Managers, do your staff know that? That is part of the expectation and the standard of the conversation that we have from the beginning. This is why you are so important to this job. This is why you are so important to this department. Hey, Shelly, thank you so much for doing these spreadsheets. I couldn't have done it without you. This is going to help me and the other people out so much. I will make sure that they know and hear your name because of how great you do every single day. And thank you for showing up today. This is the standard, and it starts with you. No matter as an employee or a manager and boss or leader, everybody is a leader of yourself, your department, your employees, your coworkers. Everyone is a leader, and it starts with you. So how are you going to step up today and have clear communication and set the standard and make sure that you stay above that line so you can be great, because it's a choice. Here are those couple announcements. One, did you know that you can support the channel for free? You can support by subscribing to the YouTube channel. You can also support by liking and leaving a 4 or 5 star review on Spotify, Apple, Google, and all those other places where you're hearing this. You can help out that way for free. The other way you can help out for free is send it to a friend. Hey, this is really good. I think you should hear it. Or send this to somebody. I know this guy got hooked to this podcast. Check it out. Listen to it. That would help out tremendously. The other way that you can support, and is the second announcement, is in the description or the show notes. There's going to be a link that says support the show. You click on it and you can support financially. You can support by $1 a month, $3 a month, $5 a month, because this is what I do full time. No 9 to 5. I'm here to teach you leadership, and this helps support the show. So like, subscribe on any platform, or click the support the show link and support us. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I am your host, Juan Alvarado. Continue to raise that bar and pull yourself up to that next level, but you cannot get to that next level unless you raise that bar. Thank you so much. God bless, and we'll see you on the next show.